Millfield Grocery was a small family business located right on the main street of the town, with a flickering green awning above. Sarah pulled off the street into the small parking lot, the closed sign hanging in the window. It was after the funeral that the store shut down for a few days, out of respect for Daniel Cobb's passing. She got out and regarded the old-time shop with its hand-painted signs, boasting of weekly specials. She couldn't imagine the young man from the crime scene photos working here, bagging groceries, making small talk with customers. What secrets had he been hiding behind his shy, unremarkable exterior? The bell on the door jingled as Sarah entered. The store smelled of fresh produce and spices, though the smell mixed with the faint undercurrent of industrial cleaner. A great array of colorful boxes and cans lined the narrow aisles that stretched out before her. "Hello?" she called. Her voice was much too loud for this silent place. "Anyone here?" After some time, there was a shuffle from the back of the shop, but still nothing. Until finally, a man in his 40s stepped from behind the shelves. A pot-bellied, balding man with a face full of grief lines. "What can I do for you?" he asked, voice full of a rough whirl of emotion. Sarah flashed her badge. "Detective Reeves. I'm here about Daniel Cobb. Are you the owner?" The man nodded, shoulders sagging. "Yeah, that's me. Bill Thompson. Daniel was. He was a good kid. Worked here for a few years. I just can't believe he's gone. I'm very sorry for your loss," came Sarah's voice, barely going over a murmur. "I know this is a difficult time, but I need to ask you a few questions. Did Daniel have any enemies that you know of? Anyone who might have wanted to hurt him?" Bill shook his head, his brow furrowed. "No, nothing like that. Daniel was quiet, kept to himself mostly, but he was always polite and reliable. Customers liked him." Sarah pulled out a small notepad. "Personal. Did he have family in the area? A girlfriend, maybe?" "Never had a family that I knew of. He would never talk about the old days. Now, as for a girlfriend..." Bill hesitated, looking uncomfortable. "There was a girl that sometimes would come in, seemed sweet to him. Daniel didn't seem to return the sentiment. You know her name? Ashley, I believe. Ashley. Sutton. Sutton. Yes, that's right. She's a librarian in town." Sarah jotted down the name. "Oh, that's good. Another thing, did you observe any suspicious behavior by Daniel a few days before his death? I mean, was he nervous, or did anything seem to frighten him?" Bill hesitated a moment, considering, then slowly shook his head. "No, nothing comes to mind. It was just Daniel. Kept to himself. Quiet." Sarah put the notebook away. "Okay. Thank you for your time, Mr. Thompson. I'll be in touch if I need to." On her way back to the car, Sarah felt her mind churning. A secret girlfriend that Daniel had turned down. Would that be a motive for murder? It seemed thin, but it was a lead worth following up on. She'd drop by the library and see if she could track down this Ashley Sutton. The library was a stately brick building set just off the town square, its steps worn smooth by generations of patrons. Before going in, Sarah checked her reflection in the glass doors and smoothed a few flyaway strands of hair. Inside, it was cool and hushed. The air smelled faintly of aged paper and lemon-scented polish. The girl sitting at the circulation desk, her blonde hair pulled back into a neat ponytail, looked up. "Can I help you?" she murmured respectfully at the tone. Sarah stepped up to the desk, pulling out her badge once more. "Detective Reeves, I'm looking for Ashley Sutton." The woman's blue eyes widened. "That's me. What's this about?" "I'm working on the murder of Daniel Cobb. Believe you knew each other?" Ashley's face crumpled, tears springing to her eyes. "Oh God, Danny. Yes, I had feelings for him. But he didn't. I mean, we were just friends." Sarah softened her tone. "I'm sorry for your loss. Can you tell me a bit about your relationship with Daniel? When was the last time you saw him?" Ashley drew a shaky breath. We met here at the library a few months ago. He came in a lot, always checking out these really obscure books on local history and unsolved crimes. We got to talking and, I don't know, I just really liked him. But he was so shy, so withdrawn. I asked him out for coffee a few times, but he always said no. She wrung her hands together. I saw him last maybe a week ago. He came in and spent hours in the back corner poring over these old newspaper clippings. He seemed anxious, nervous, you know. But he wouldn't tell me what was wrong. Do you remember what he was reading? Sarah asked, her heart beating faster. Well, it was, sort of about a load of deaths that were unsolved in Millfield in the 60s. Missing people, strange accidents, that kind of thing. He had a stack of articles going back years. Sarah jotted that down. It was interesting. One more cold case that intrigued Daniel. Could it be related to his murder in some way? Thanks, Ashley, she said. You were great with your help. If you think of something else, just give me a call. She handed over her card, and then headed for the part of the library that Ashley had mentioned. The shelves there were jam-packed with dusty archives, newspaper binders, and local history books. Sarah rifled through them, looking for the cases Daniel had been studying. She then came across a series of reports filed that year, showing a chain of disappearances in 1963, all within the town limits of Millfield. A teenage couple that disappeared after an evening at the drive-in. A drifter who just disappeared while traveling through town. A reclusive widow who just simply vanished from her cabin in the woods. The police at the time had been at a loss. The signs of foul play were absent. Not a body was turned up in the search. It was almost like these people just blinked out of existence. The case went cold almost in no time, lost in the pages of time and memory. But why had Daniel Cobb been so interested in them? What secrets did he believe they contained in those dusty archives? And most importantly, had that interest cost him his life? Sarah gathered copies of relevant articles, a sick feeling in the pit of her stomach growing stronger. The crime of passion seemed to be morphing into the silencing of a man who knew too much, a man who was her father. But much too much about what? What secret so dark did someone at Millfield lie sleepless, trying to keep hidden? As Sarah left the library, the afternoon sun seemed to have lost some of its warmth. Shadows pooled deeper in the alleys and beneath the trees. She couldn't shake the primal flutter of unease between her shoulder blades, the ancestral tingle that whispered of unseen eyes watching from the dark. She shook it off, irritated with herself over letting the small-town atmosphere get to her. She was a detective, a rational woman. Whatever had happened to Daniel Cobb, whatever he had discovered, it would have a rational explanation. After all, killers were only human. They bled and died like any other. The only monsters were the ones people created for themselves. She steeled herself. With resolve, Sarah walked to her car. There were leads to follow, a mystery to unravel, and justice to be served for Daniel Cobb and these long-ago victims of Millfield. She would pull the truth out of any shadow, no matter how deep, no matter what waited within it. All she could hope was that she was ready for the truth that would be.